Good morning. Hope you're doing well. Happy Sunday to you. I am recording this on Sunday morning. It is, I believe, 6:40 Mountain Standard Time in the U.S. So thank you so much to the subscribers, to the returning listeners, to the new listeners. Thank you so much. I hope you're doing well. I posted yesterday. Again, I just pressed record and just let flow from me whatever it was that Most High wanted to share with us all. Again, I learn as I speak as well, often. And that's an indication of someone who is coming from a sincere place. When they speak things that challenge themselves, and they do not hinder that word from coming forth, but they embrace it as they release it too. Okay? That's a sign of a good, leader, teacher, individual, whatever it is. You may not be a leader, and you may be that way. But you lead yourself. So we're all leaders, right? Because we lead ourselves, although most people are reluctant in those duties or sacrifice those responsibilities. I'm reminded of the song by Survivor, Eye of the Tiger, when they say, "You trade your passions for glory," right? People trade their passions for glory, right? For the TikTok likes, followers, YouTube followers, whatever platform now, especially today, right? It's sickening how people are so focused on themselves. It's hard to see a profile picture where a woman isn't showing her ass as the first asset of herself. Like, your ass, woman, is not the first asset of you, right? Your internal being is the first asset of you. Really? Sit your ass down, right? And put your face in a book or something and start learning about yourself. So that's the society that needs to be closed out. And that's what the 144 and the collective, that's what we're here to do. That's what all the Mercury retrogrades are about since the beginning of time. That's what they're about. Helping man to ascend, helping man, constantly be in his truest, purest, highest form. Being irreplaceable. So what does it mean when you are irreplaceable? Okay. So here's a thought I want to share with us and encourage us to consider this, think about this throughout the day. Okay. So what does it mean to be irreplaceable? To you, what does that mean? Okay. So our first thought when we think of being irreplaceable should not be the view of that other individual towards us. It should be our perspective of ourselves. I am irreplaceable. I remember there are several women that I told this at the beginning of the time when we started dating. I would tell them that I'm not worried about them cheating on me because they can do it, but they'll never find anyone as good as I am. And that's in every aspect. That's because I give unconditional love. That's the healing nature of me. That unconditional love flows into the bedroom. That's why my lovemaking is so electric. And that's not a bragging thing. That is who I am. I am an earth angel. You can't replace an earth angel with anything else, right? Just like you can't replace There are other forms of transportation, but as of right now, an airplane is the fastest form of transportation that we generally, the general public, has access to, right? Even if it's a jet, it's still an airplane, right? So it should not, being irreplaceable is not based on the opinion of someone else. It is your perspective of yourself. So, an affirmation of I am irreplaceable. One, it helps your solar plexus, so it helps your confidence. Okay? So that solar plexus can shine bright gold or bright yellow or whatever color you imagine. It's yellow or gold. That's the color of it. But whatever, I'm saying whatever image you picture it. You could picture the sun. You could picture blocks of gold. You could picture sunflowers. You could picture, sunflowers are my favorite flower because they face the sun. They always have been since I was a child. I always loved sunflowers. A field of sunflowers is just such an amazing thing to me. It's therapeutic. It's, I don't know. That's what calls out to me is a sunflower. You have your own favorite flower, and those things are meaningful. If you find yourself drawn to things, right, without any prior introduction. So I remember when I picked up oil painting in 2009, it was after someone who I was spiritually connected with had passed unexpectedly because she was part of the house or church that I was a part of back then. I'm not a part of any religious organization today and never will be. I will never be a part of organizations that distinguish themselves with a ethnicity. So I will never be a part of the NAACP. I will never be a part of Black Entrepreneurs of America. First of all, because I'm not black, I'm brown. If you don't believe me, check my fucking color spectrum, right? Check the color spectrum. I'm sorry, and my skin. So no one is black. And that's part of the fucking conspiracy theory that has been shaping the culture, at least here in America, for 200 years. There is no such thing as black people. There is no such thing as white people. No other country distinguishes themselves from people who are brown and them by a color other than America. I lived in Germany for 2 years. I saw brown Germans, born and raised. No one ever said to them, "Oh, you're a black German. Get the fuck out of here." No one ever said that. They're just Germans. I dated a black or a German when I was over there, right? She wasn't, right? She was a Caucasian German, right? So, yeah, right? The only country. And it's the majority of the country. In this country, the Browns and the Caucasians. But they want you to think it's a brown versus white because those are polar opposites. They want you to believe this. The other day I mentioned the marriage and how a marriage on earth is supposed to mirror the divine marriage between our spirit, our energy, I was going to say eklos. I don't even know what that means. I have no idea what that means. But us, right? And Most High. Yahweh, God, Lord, whatever you want to call him, right? Abba, Father, whatever. You can call him whatever you want to call him. Until he corrects you, right? Because if he doesn't like what you call him, he definitely let you know what he would like for you to call him. And that's how I've seen my life grow. So I started out, grew up in a very religious place. Right? Like many of us. And even if you didn't go to church, it was still a religious house because if you lived in a house with alcoholics, drug addicts, they did that stuff all the time. That's religiousness. Doing shit over and over and over again, expecting a different result. That's religiousness. That's also insanity, right? So growing up, I grew up in the church, right? First 11 years I was with Judy, the woman who I assume gave birth to me. And yes, the jury's still out on that, so we'll see what the jury says. And same thing with the sperm donor. Again, that's assumed. Jury will be back with their verdict shortly. We're not worried about that. So if you're interested, stay tuned to Central Florida News. Because there's a high likelihood that once this is all said and done for me and my journey, that people talk about biblical times as if they've ended. We are in biblical times. Biblical times never ceased. We are in biblical times. When I was going through the dark night of the soul, I started to realize that the scriptures need to be rewritten, and they need to be rewritten to include, first of all, or at least maybe separate publishings, those lost books that were found in the 40s or in the 60s or in the whenevers they were found, right? Whatever century, whatever millennia, whenever. Make those things absolutely accessible to every human being on this planet that wants access to them. Stop hoarding fucking information that you know is going to open up man's eyes to see who they really truly are and the spiritual extraterrestrial beings that we are, and not just humans following a program. MK Ultra and all those other fucking programs, TV programs, church programs. Yep, political agendas. Yeah. Illuminati. Right? So, being irreplaceable is all on you. And we become irreplaceable when we embrace who we really truly are. When we love ourselves 100%, in spite of if there's any hate or dislike for you, what you're doing, how you're doing it, it doesn't matter. Because as long as you're doing it, and when I say it doesn't matter in your purpose. It doesn't matter. As long as whatever you're doing, they cannot knock you off your rocker, because you know for a fact you are a highly ascended individual, angel, or light worker, starseed, Blu-ray angel, whatever you are, you know what you are. And if you don't, then again, I encourage you to get linked to, it could be YouTube channel, it could be trying to think of other platforms. Is there a Pinterest? No, not Pinterest. There's another platform that people use that's very common. I think it starts with a P, but I can't think of it at the moment. But whatever platform, right? Or maybe you find someone in person so you could face-to-face meet with them if it's a highly ascended individual that you find camaraderie with, right? And you connected with, that spirit guides you to. That's awesome. I'm certainly not, again, I say it all the time, I'm certainly not the only one. I'm not the most informed one. I'm not the smartest one. I am just a one. I am just a chosen one. Okay? And so, Mercury retrogrades, as I've stated, and that reminds me. Yesterday's video cut off, and I didn't realize it. So I mentioned Matthew 18:6. Okay, Matthew 18:6 talks about, it's really kind of a dare from Most High. He is saying, I dare you to come against one that is upright, whose heart is pure, whose hands are clean, and who is focused on me, and they are doing as I've asked them to. I dare you to. Better to that person. I think it says that man. I read the NIV Bible. It said better is that person that they, like, I don't know, jump off a cliff, commit suicide, than they come up against one of these individuals, chosen ones, starseeds, light work, the individual who's doing my purpose and my will, right? Unconditional love, right? Anyone who comes, watch out. You come up against them, you watch out when they are in their purpose. You watch out. When their hands are clean, their heart is pure, you watch out for the judgment that's going to fall on you. You watch out. It'd be better if you unalived yourself than if you come against one of mine. Generally, or most often actually, your enemies, and you don't have to seek them out. Your enemies find you. You don't have to find your enemies. They find you. Okay, it's like the prey, right? And the predator, right? The predator is seeking the weakest prey amongst the herd, clamor, like, I think that's like a clamor of fish or clamor, I don't know, gaggle, whatever the collecting, whatever the group is, right? They go after, the predator goes after, to them and their perception, the weakest link, or the one that looks most appetizing. Again, generally that's the weakest one, because there might be a bigger buffalo, there might be a bigger elk, but then that's more work, right? So they tend to go after the ones they think are the weaker. Generally speaking, that's the ones who are showing unconditional love, because they seem meek and lowly. They seem like easily led astray. They seem like they're weak, right? But again, yesterday I talked about being a chameleon and going deep, right? Going silent and going deep. Okay? That's why I don't spend a lot of time on social media other than YouTube. I don't. I check in, I check out. Facebook, I have the app on my phone. I sign in. When I'm done, I sign out. And I stay out of Facebook for days and weeks at a time. Don't post anything. Month, 2 months, who cares, right? But generally, and I guess that was kind of not relevant information. I don't know why I said that. But generally, your enemies, they only recognize you, your value, your strength, your truth, your dignity, okay, your spiritual gifts, and what you brought to the table. They only realize that after you get up from their table. That is typically the only time the enemy realizes your worth. Okay? So, recognize your value before the enemy does. What does that mean? Don't sit at a table longer than what you have to. Okay? I've never done a speed dating session. I guess I don't know what they call speed session, whatever, events. But I've never done one of those, right? But when it's time to get up and go, you got to get up and go. Get up. Okay, you sat at this table enough. Get up, move to the next table, right? Because at the next table, you're going to meet someone new. So in life, if you stay at the table longer than what you have to, your friends become your enemies. Okay? They might become your enemies after you leave their table because they're upset because you left. You don't have to be mean or angry about it. Voice all of that. And that's what I've learned. So here's a key for someone. Don't, and I did it once in 2 years, going through dealing with the twin flame that I was dealing with. Okay. She's a Scorpio. Not all Scorpios are evil twin flames. Or weak. You know what I mean? But in a twin flame union, one is stronger, one is weaker. That's just the way that it goes, because one is a masculine, one is a feminine. And don't be deceived, the masculine isn't always the stronger one. There's no rhyme or reason to that. Okay? The masculine can be the weaker one. And in my case, the masculine was the weaker one, even though I am a male. She was in more of the masculine energy. And again, that's okay. The purpose of the divine masculine and divine feminine union. So the divine feminine, right? The divine feminine is, the masculine is the provider. The feminine, I believe, is the, how should I say it? Is the source. Okay, so the divine feminine is the source. This is why I'm about to open up some eyes. This is why when Most High created man, right? Once man did whatever he did, right? He told man that he would till the ground when he created man by the sweat of his brow. Man, the masculine, is the worker, is the builder, the creator. That's the masculine. The source is the feminine. So Most High, right, is the source, divine source, the feminine energy. That's who divine source is, right? He doesn't have a V or a D. Divine source, that's who he is. Okay, so that's the marriage between man and divine source, right? Masculine on earth working, source, right? In the air, on the air, right? Working together. And in marriage on earth, that's the way it's supposed to be. This is why male and male does not work. This is why female and female does not work. It was created to be feminine, masculine, because divine is divine feminine. So a divine feminine needs divine masculine. So he created man. But then he saw here that man, he couldn't be here. So he created woman. Again, as that expression of himself. Learning something? I am. So, becoming irreplaceable. So when you become irreplaceable, again, this is from your vantage point, not from the prospect's vantage point or the observer's vantage point. I should say prospectors, not prospects, prospectors, observers, the lookers. Okay. There's what most people think of you. There are so few people in this world whose opinion really matters to you and your grand purpose. You would be shocked. You might be shocked to find you don't need to care what your mother thinks. You don't need to care what your father thinks in order to fulfill your purpose. You don't need to care what your husband thinks. You don't need to care what your son or daughter thinks. Your daughter or son don't need to care what you think. You don't need to care what the pastor thinks about what your purpose is. You don't need to care what the pastor thinks about what his purpose is. You don't need to care about that. That is not your job. Your job is you. I don't care how many kids you have, how many marriages you had. You might be in multiple marriages and I was going to say blasphemy. That's not, that might be what Most High fused. That might be one of the things that's blasphemy. I don't know. But it's called, bigamy. So you might be a polygamist like my sperm donor was, or is. He's incarcerated, so he can't do any polygamying, right? But there are women who still follow him, listen to him, give him money. I'm sure he has more money in his commissary than anybody in the entire state of Michigan, right? Because they never became irreplaceable. They never became irreplaceable. They stayed slaves to the system, which was his system, and that's how most are. This country and others all around the world, 106, how many other 67 countries, how many other countries there are in the world. People, they stay in situations because they don't know their value, and they don't know their value because they're listening to everybody else yap they fucking mouth. They listening to everybody else. That's why. Okay? Right? And we, by the way, whoever you are, if you know you're a chosen, so you're a light worker, you're a star seed, you're an earth angel, you're a healer, you're an empath, you're an alchemist, and you've known for a long time. Again, me as a child, I knew for a long time, even as a kid, I knew that there was something unique about me. I lived in the hood projects, and I talked the way that I do, and my cousins and other people teased me and told me that I talked white. And then I became a little more wise and started saying, fuck you, and what is talking white? What does that mean? Oh, like I got some sense? Oh, yeah, definitely fuck you then in that case, because I got some sense. Some sense to walk away from your crazy ass, right? So again, if we take a couple of steps back and look at the things that have been thrown at us, we can see a whole lot of what's been trying to keep us subdued. A whole lot of what's been trying to keep us under their thumb. Again, regardless of where you are on this planet, the planets were the Earth, the masses of Earth, the Earth masses were once one, right? And then the Great Flood happened, and that's what separated the continents, right? So I don't think this is foreign knowledge or obscure knowledge. If you look at a map, a flat map of the entire world, I guess you can only look at a flat map. I guess, I don't know, you can look at a globe. I don't know why I said flat map. If you can look at a map or a globe, you can see that the continents fit nicely together if you follow their, right? You trace their outer perimeter, right? They fit together, right? The Great Flood separated and brought forth the waters from the deep, as it's described, from the deep, swells from the deep, and they separated the masses of earth. They separated them. Okay? Man wants to confuse you and call Greenland Iceland and Iceland Greenland. Man wants to do that. Iceland has more green on it than Greenland does, but man does shit to confuse us. That just came to me. Man. We have to start waking up, people. A call for justice, a call to justice, a call that's greater, a cause that's for the masses. What's a cause that's for the masses? What's a cause that's for the masses? Releasing them from the religious prisons, from the programs, and really breaking those chains and showing them and allowing them to see who they really truly are, and not showing them. I take that back, not showing them, but allowing them to see, because it's already in them. Again, The kingdom is within you. Okay. I shared that on the video that cut off yesterday. The kingdom is within you. Okay. All the things that man has conjured up. Again, that's why the Bible needs to be rewritten. I started thinking about that going through the dark night of the soul. And then I recently heard someone say that they have been directed to rewrite the Bible. I mean, it needs to be done, and it doesn't need to be called the Bible. It needs to be called something else. Because what it really is, it really should be a book of truth. That's really what it should be. I don't know if that's what they're going to call it, but it needs to be a book of truth. Because right now it's not. And if you don't believe me, look up the book of Enoch. Look up the book of treasures. Look up the Gospel of Thomas. Look up the 40, look up 45 books found, 45 scrolls found, 45 lost books found, 45 40 scriptures, found books of the Bible, look that up and find out. And then start reading. I mentioned the other day I don't like to read. But what I will read, without a doubt, is something that is going to expand me in regards to who I am. That's why I'm sharing Living by the Moon series and going through the 12 zodiacs. Okay? And going through the Mercury retrograde, I'm only sharing or only pressing record when Most High directs me to. And so right now he hasn't directed me to share whatever the next sign. I think we have 3 more signs left. I think the last was Sagittarius, I believe. And so we have Aquarius, Capricorn, Pisces. Capricorn. Yeah, I think we have those 3, excuse me. And so, going about your day, again, it's Sunday. Maybe you go to church, maybe you don't. It doesn't matter. There's nothing wrong with going to church. Again, I do believe that at some point, if you choose to embrace this awakening journey, the spiritual awakening journey, not the salvation journey, because that's garbage. You don't need salvation. You are already a holy being. You are already a devout being. You are already a divine being. The kingdom of God is within you. You don't need a man to tell you who you are. That's why I don't know your purpose. That's for you to find out. That's for you to walk out. All I'm supposed to do is give opportunity. That's what Yeshua did. That's what every other ascended master did. And every other light worker, every other 144,000 or whoever it might be. That's all our purpose is simply to provide the opportunity. So when I show up in someone's life, I show up to expose things or to heal things. So I'm a chameleon. So he puts me in situations where people don't know who I am. They don't know I'm an earth angel. They don't know the power within my hands. These hands. And I don't mean power like strength. I mean power like supernatural anointing in these hands. Both the left and the right hand. These hands. Right? They don't know until they're awakened or until they see proof. Okay? And then they're like, oh, right? And then they want to be your friend. Then they want to come to you and send you Facebook invites. And then they want to write. Then they want to be your friend. No. When Most High starts to expand your territories, right? Or he picks you up and puts you somewhere else, right? Because that land has run dry or you fulfilled your purpose there. When he does that, don't look back. Don't go back. Don't turn around, because you will surely, most assuredly, be turned to stone. Don't turn around. Don't look back. They didn't love you and appreciate you then. They undervalued you, your abilities, what you brought to the table. Do not turn around. I remember I was looking to get a house, looking to purchase a single family home in Central Florida. And actually at this time, it was in the Daytona area. This is years and years ago. And the woman, the realtor, and we are connected till this day, right? And in large part because of this moment, okay? And she's still a realtor in Florida, right? I think, yeah, she's still a realtor in Florida, in Volusia County. And we went into this house, okay? And this house had, I believe, 3 levels. It was an older house. It had 3 levels. It was like a craftsman style house. But then on the top level, which would normally be the attic, they actually finished it. Okay. And so it was maybe, I don't know, it might have been like the master bedroom. Or actually, they turned it into a master bedroom or something. I can't remember exactly. But there was a message. There was a laundry chute in this house. And there was a Post-it, a literal yellow Post-it sticker on the door of this laundry chute door in this master bedroom of this the third level of this house. And it said, "Do not turn around. You are not going that way." That's literally what the Post-it said. And at the time, I had made a decision to walk away from the wife who didn't follow me or go with me to Pittsburgh when I got my kidney transplant. She never showed up. I was there for 3 weeks. And while I was there, I was like, that's it. And she knows the name of my channel, so she might listen to it. And I'm not trying to put you on blast. That's why I don't mention your name. Right? And if you ask her, she'll be like, well, I remember this one time I had a migraine. You wouldn't take me to the hospital. I was on dialysis at the time when we were married. Maybe I was cramped. Maybe I didn't feel well. Maybe I was just getting off treatment. There's recovery time necessary for that. I don't know. Who knows? I don't know. Right? But I do know that if I did not take her to the hospital, which, by the way, was 3 minutes up the road. Okay? It was. It's 3 minutes up the road. Halifax Hospital in Daytona Beach. 3 minutes up the road from where we were. Okay? So, and I understand that's not the point. And it's not the point of what I'm sharing. My point is for us to understand our value. And when individuals do not appreciate your value and you start to see the indicators, the synchronicities, the synchronicities. Okay. So I remember thinking back, right, to my twin flame relationship. And I remember thinking back on conversations and things that we had when she was contradicting things that she had said prior. Okay? So she would say something, I'd come around and ask her. And then the next time I came around and asked her opinion of it, right, she gave it without being asked. And then I come around and ask her, okay, so which one, right? She'd be like, I don't care. And that's will let you know they are a double-minded individual. So what are they? They're unstable. Okay? They're unstable. My goal for me is in this lifetime to get to the place where I am so much, even in the flesh, I am so much of my spiritual being, that spiritual general, that spiritual gangster, that warrior. I am so much of that, even as the flesh feet walk the earth, that I change lives merely by the presence. And that's not me trying to be God. I will never, I hold my position and I hold it well. I don't even want that position. If I had that position, my first duty would probably be to blow this fucker up. Point blank. Meaning this earth. Start over. Scrap this shit. Because to me, it's too diseased. It's too toxic. It's ugly. It's sick. It's just nasty. It's a sewer. But that's why I'm here. And that's why others are here. To bring about the NWO. To bring about the New World Order that is necessary to debunk all the programs that we embraced, that man has allowed to control humans for centuries. Those programs. Okay? So being irreplaceable, your enemy realizes it only after you're gone. You need to realize it and then leave. Because you are irreplaceable. You cannot be replaced. There's no substitute for the 7 to 8 billion people on this planet right now. 250,000 people on average pass between sunset and sunrise. 250,000 people every day pass on average between sun up and sundown. Their physical bodies, their soul spirit leave their body and they ashes to ashes, dust to dust. 250,000 people, 250,000 people pass every single sun up to sundown during the moon phase of the day. 250, right? That's a 25. That's a 7. 250,000 people. Okay? They're not replaced. They just come back as someone else in another timeline. Because your soul and spirit does not die. Okay? So, are you irreplaceable? In what areas are you irreplaceable? Are you irreplaceable in your marriage? Are you irreplaceable in your community? Are you irreplaceable in your church? Are you irreplaceable at your job? Are you irreplaceable amongst your friends? I know I am. You've been tuned into The Encourager. My name is Nehru. Thank you so much for tuning in. And as always, be encouraged.